Stop for a moment and answer one question honestly. How many times in your life have you said, "It was just a coincidence"? And how many times did it occur to you that maybe it wasn't a coincidence at all, just something that was waiting until you were ready to see it? In this video, I will not talk about miracles in a fairy tale way. I will not say that it is enough to think positively or send an intention to the universe. If you are here, you probably feel that something in your life wants to change, but you do not yet fully know how to stop blocking what could happen. The truth is that miracles are not rare. Our permission for them is rare. Most people do not consciously block miracles. We do it through tension, through control, through fear of loss, through the need to know how and when, and then we say, "Nothing is happening. It doesn't work for me. Others have it easier." In this material, I will show you why the mind is so afraid of miracles, what letting go of control really means and what it absolutely does not mean, how to change your inner state so that you begin to see other possibilities, and how, in everyday life, not in theory, to create space in which life can surprise you. If you feel that you are stuck between "I want more" and "I don't know what's next," stay. This video may not give you all the answers, but it may ask exactly the questions that trigger change. The mind loves control because control gives it a sense of safety, not happiness, safety. That is a huge difference. For the mind, what is safe is what is familiar, even if it hurts, even if it exhausts you, even if you have long felt that this is not your place. That is why we so often cling to relationships that stopped nourishing us long ago, work in which you are fading, but at least it's stable. A version of yourself that is not true, but is accepted. And now pay attention. This is precisely where the most significant paradox is born. We say that we want miracles, but at the same time, we want them to happen without disturbing our sense of control. We want change, but the kind that does not turn anything upside down. We want a new life, but without losing the old one. And that is not how it works. A miracle is not the fulfillment of a scenario you already have in your head. A miracle is the appearance of an option you were unable to plan for. The mind cannot stand that, because if it does not know how, when, and from where, it starts to tense up. It starts to analyze. It starts to question. It starts to sabotage. And very often you do not even notice that at this very moment, you are rejecting a solution that arrived in a form different from what you expected. Maybe someone is offering you something that at first glance does not look perfect. Maybe something is ending that, according to the plan, was supposed to last longer. Maybe life is saying, "Not this way anymore," and you are trying to force your way back. A miracle begins when you stop asking, "Why is this not happening the way I want?" And you start asking, "What is trying to happen instead?" And that question, if you really feel it, begins to dismantle control. There is a moment in life that, from the outside, looks like giving up, and from the inside is one of the most liberating experiences you can have. It is the moment when you say, "I don't know how this will turn out, but I stop fighting every possibility that scares me." Most people say they are open, but they are open only to a narrow range of scenarios, to those who do not disrupt too much, to those who do not require loss of face, position, comfort, or someone else's approval. And yet life does not develop linearly. It develops through turns. Accepting all variance does not mean that you want suffering. It does not mean that you agree to chaos. It means something completely different. That you stop treating the unknown as an enemy. When you say, "If what is meant to happen will lead me closer to the truth about myself, then I am ready to see it." Your body begins to respond differently. Your breath deepens, the tension releases, your thoughts slow down. And it is precisely in this state that you begin to see more. Sometimes what at first looks like an ending, it is simply a door that would not have opened otherwise. Sometimes something must fall apart, so that you can stop building on foundations that were never yours. Miracles do not always come as a reward. They often come as a course correction. And only with time do you see that this very moment, the one you were afraid of, it was the beginning of something you would not even have been able to imagine. One of the biggest myths of spiritual development is the belief that letting go means doing nothing, that if you stop controlling, you will lose influence, that if you do not keep everything in check, everything will fall apart. And the truth is that most of the things you are trying to control, we were never really under your control. Letting go is not giving up action. It is giving up compulsion. It is the moment when you do what is yours to do, but you stop pressing on things you have no influence over. Imagine that you are holding a rope in your hands. You are pulling it with all your strength because you are afraid that if you let go, you will lose something. And the harder you pull, the more your hands hurt. The longer you hold, the less energy you have. Letting go does not mean that the rope disappears. It means that you stop yanking it. When you stop forcing answers, signals begin to appear. When you stop pressing people, relationships begin to breathe. When you stop fighting the moment you are in, it becomes easier to see the next step. A miracle does not happen because you let go of everything. It happens because you stopped getting in the way of what wants to happen. High vibrations have nothing to do with constant smiling or pretending that everything is fine. It is not a state of euphoria, it is a state of inner coherence. You have high vibrations when what you think, what you feel, and what you do, they are not in conflict with each other. If you say, I want change, but every day you do everything to avoid it, your field is incoherent. If you dream of closeness, but you are afraid to be honest, your field is closed. Raising your vibration in practice begins with simple things, with honesty toward yourself. By noticing where you say yes when your whole body is screaming no, by stopping for even 1 minute and asking, what do I really feel right now? The more often you return to yourself, the less energy you lose to inner struggle. And where there is no inner struggle, space appears. And it is precisely in this space that things begin to happen, that you later call a miracle. Intention is direction. Expectation is pressure. When you have an intention, you say to life, this is what I am opening to. When you have an expectation, you say, this must happen exactly like this, otherwise I will consider it a failure. And life does not like blackmail. Intention is soft but clear. It does not say how, it does not say when, it says in which direction. Expectation is rigid. It narrows the field. It makes you unable to see alternatives because you are focused on one image. When you start working with intention instead of expectation, something in you calms down. You take your steps, you make decisions, but you stop constantly checking, already? Is it working? Why not yet? And it is precisely in this state, calm movement without pressure, that life most often responds. Trust is very often mistaken for naivety, as if trust meant closing your eyes and waiting for everything to work itself out. But genuine trust is not passivity. It is action without guarantees. It is a state in which you say, I don't yet know how this will all connect, but I know I can take this one step. Trust in practice looks very ordinary. It is sending a CV even though you do not meet all the requirements. It is starting a conversation you are afraid to begin. It is deciding to try instead of postponing life for later once again. Miracles do not appear where you stand still and wait. They appear where there is movement, even a very small one. When you do your part and at the same time stop controlling the outcome, something in you relaxes. You no longer act out of desperation. You no longer act out of fear that it must work. You act because it feels aligned, and it is precisely this alignment that causes you to start meeting people, opportunities, and solutions that could never be planned at a desk. Relationships are one of the most significant areas in which we try to control things we have no influence over. We want someone to understand us faster, to mature earlier, to see what we already see. And the more we want it, the more tension appears. Real change in relationships begins when you stop pushing the other person in any direction. When you allow others to be where they are, even if it is difficult to accept, two things happen. First, you regain your energy. Second, the relationship stops being a battlefield. Sometimes, a miracle is that someone moves closer to you. Sometimes it is that someone leaves, and sometimes a relationship changes into something completely different than you ever imagined. And although it can be painful, it is precisely in this truth that relationships begin to be authentic. Most people think that miracles will happen someday, when the job changes, when someone important appears, when everything finally falls into place. But miracles rarely come in big moments. They most often come quietly, on an ordinary day, in a conversation that was supposed to be short, in a decision you make differently than you always do. The more present you are in everyday life, the more you notice. You notice signs, synchronicities, and recurring themes. You notice that something comes back to you in different forms, as if life were trying to say, look here, miracles are not detached from reality. They are its natural extension, when you stop living on autopilot. To be ready for a miracle does not mean to expect a specific outcome. It means to be ready for the fact that life may respond differently. Thank you for planning. Readiness is openness without tension, without clinging tightly to an image of the future. It is a state in which you say, I am here, I am listening, I am moving step by step. And it is precisely then that you begin to experience things that, from the perspective of time, seems impossible to plan. Every day begins the same way. You open your eyes, you breathe, you are, but what you do with it depends on one choice, whether you will try to control everything or allow life to meet you halfway. Miracles are not something that needs to be forced. They are something that comes when you stop defending yourself against them. And perhaps from today on, every ordinary day, it will begin to contain something extraordinary.